In the sky, you and I are floating in space. How are you? I must tell you, I am impressed. Pull this down just a little bit. Pull this one down just a little bit. Keep coming. Bring it down. Bring it. That's better. I must tell you, I'm impressed. I can't believe you're actually awake. Seriously, I mean, there are very few things that people wake up for by 10 or 11 in the morning on Sunday at a convention. Usually Saturday night is a killer, and you guys, you know, most people stay out really late, and did you stay out really late? Maybe. You never went to sleep, did you? I knew it! I predicted it! Anyway, good morning!
Good morning!
I'm so glad you guys are here. Oh, hold on a minute. My crotch is buzzing. I mean my pocket. My friend Chris. Sorry. Okay. How many of you guys have been in each of the Q&A sessions this weekend? Okay, so some newbies here, yes? How many of you, this is your first Q&A that I've done this weekend? Good morning. Welcome. It's not, you liar. This girl's a liar. Remove her. We've had a really fun weekend. I'm so glad you guys came. I was talking to the convention chairman just a few minutes ago, and she was telling me that she's like, a lot of people were really surprised that you came to Evansville. I was like, why? I love coming to see people all over the place, so I'm particularly grateful that you guys came out this weekend. I hope you had a good time. Did you? Yes, I have one more autograph session left at 2 o'clock, and if I haven't gotten to meet you yet, I hope you'll come and say hello. And if I did, I hope you'll come anyway and say hello again. We just have a handful of things left that I brought for you guys if you're interested. Music CDs, like that one that you heard, and the concert DVD, just a handful left, and also the free disc that I talked about yesterday. For those of you that this is your first Q&A, I did this weird thing. Don't get scared. But I recorded the entire Gospel of John from the Bible. But it's a real cool contemporary version. And I put some fun voices to it and played the piano underneath it. And I made a CD of it that I give away for free. So if you'd like to have one, I'll have those at the Q&A session, or excuse me, at the autograph session. And I'd be honored for you to have one. Let's see, what else? Anything else that's happened since I talked to you yesterday? Hold on. Have you seen the posters for Pop Icon? Is that what it's called? Pop? Oh, there's something in the middle that looks like an eye. I thought it was Pop Icon. There's a guy there that's one of their guests, and he looks just like my first AD from Star Trek Continues. So I was standing out there looking at the poster, and I'm like, that looks like Chris White. And I took a picture and sent it to Chris, and I'm like, this guy looks like you. You're famous. Anyway, so let's talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I will warn you that my voice is shot from so much talking this weekend, so I'm going to try to lay low this morning. I'm not really good at that. I often lose it, like and start yelling and doing crazy things, but I'm going to try to lay low. But let's talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Does anyone have a question you want to ask? Yes?
I was wondering, what was your favorite line for doing
sorry,
Ed?
1 second. Hey, could you guys close the door? Would you guys close that door? There's just a lot of sound coming in from back there. Thank you. Yes?
I was wondering, what was your favorite line from playing Ed from Fullmetal?
Oh my gosh. How could you pick one line? Right? Oh my gosh, I love so many of them.
You can do as many.
That's like saying, what's your favorite breath of air you ever took? I mean, so many great lines that Ed said. Let's see, what were some of my favorites? Well, one of my first that stuck in my head that I just loved so much, that was a classic Ed, was from episode 13 of the original, I think it's, yeah, it was, from the first series. And it was where they were going to have a little mock battle between Ed and Roy. Remember that?
Yeah.
I love it. They're out on the battlefield, and Ed said, "Today's a great day, Al. The day that punch him in his face and get some damn respect. And cute little Alphonse, what's your strategy, brother? And this is my favorite line. Ed goes, I told you, a fist in his face! I just love that. And then there was another one that I didn't even remember saying. This was the best one. Somebody wrote me years ago and they said, I really love, my favorite line that Ed ever said is, there are so many people whose asses I have to kick. I'm going to have to make a list to keep track. And they wrote that to me, and literally my response was, I said that? Because I didn't even remember Ed saying that. But then I came across the episode, or it was on television, or somebody mentioned it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that. And I loved it. That's one of my favorites. And then in general, I love all of the very quiet emotional lines that Ed says. Like, anything from any of those little monologues that he does, like the Bury the Chopper monologue at the end of that episode, and the very end of Brotherhood, and I love those kind of things. Because, Ed puts on this big front, he puts on this big show, like he's all tough and confident and smart ass, right? But then when he's alone with Al, you see the not quite so sure of himself side, and the little bit scared, and a little nervous. And I love that. So I always enjoyed those kind of lines too. Yes? I did. I played a little character in Sword Art. Did anyone see Sword Art Online?
Yeah.
Did you see the two little slugs? I know, right? Yeah, wow, Vic, you're really moving up in the world. You played a slug. Good for you. Good for you. Congrats. No, there's two weird slug-type creatures, and it was me and Tony Oliver who played the two little slug creatures. I wanted to do something really crazy with the voice. Like, they brought me in to it was just a little cameo thing, right? They brought me in, and they're like, here's what the character looks like, what do you want to do? And I wanted to do something, I don't even remember what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something fun. Oh, I wanted to do something like that! Or whatever, and they're like, nah, that's a little too weird. And I was like, man, I just make crap up, and they're like, no, too weird, too weird, too weird. And it ended up just being like, something like this. Just really dumb. It was like, wasn't anything very different, but. Yes, but I have no recollection. Yes, you have a good ear, Mike. You have two good ears. Very furry, large ears. You know what? I appreciate you saying that, and I want to comment on that. She said that she likes picking out, she's kind of trained into my voice and likes picking it out of different shows. You know what one of my favorite things is, though? One of my favorite things is doing a character that people don't know is me. I have a very specific tone to my voice. A lot of voice actors do, and you can hide it, you can change it, but they always sound very similar. And so I really enjoy when I get to play a character that isn't my typical voice. One of the things that I loved about Ikaku from Bleach was that the first 3 or 4 weeks went by with Bleach, with him showing up on the series on television, and people didn't realize that it was me. And it was like a month later, and people were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were Ikaku. Because he's like this, he talks like this, Ikaku, feeling lucky. So I really enjoy doing those kind of characters. And there have been some other ones. There was this guy that I played. Anyone ever see a show called? Can't think of it. Too many. I played this kind of an archbishop, kind of an evil, this religious character, and he was this old crotchety guy. What was it? Chevalier. Chevalier. And he was a very evil character. It was so fun. I loved it so much. And we really get a kick out of doing things that are different from what we normally get cast as. Yes?
Okay, I've got 2 questions.
Pick one question, because we have a lot of questions.
Okay. What was your actually favorite line from Oron High School Host Club?
Again, Tamaki says way too many fun things for me to pick one line. Of course, I love the coffee line. Because I love coffee, and I love girls. 2 great things together in the same line. You know, I love that. I love the coffee line. I love all of his crazy stuff at the beginning with Haruhi, you know, long live the poor, and all that crazy stuff. And you know what? Again, just like with Ed, I really enjoyed the episode where it flashes back to when he first met Kyoya, and you find out this backstory about Tamaki. I loved that because suddenly he's not being all wacky and crazy and zany. He's just this younger kid, and he's sitting on the couch with Kyoya talking about how his grandmother hates him and he hasn't seen his mom. You know what I mean? And I'm like, aww. I love that kind of stuff. Japanese anime is they're so good at that. They're so good at luring you in with comedy and making you laugh and laugh and laugh, and everybody's crazy and wacky, and then all of a sudden, something heavy, all of a sudden it's heavy. It's deep, and it's emotional, and you're like, ah! So like on a dime, you're laughing 1 second, and then you're like really moved the next minute. I love that kind of stuff.
Yes. Did you have to do anything specific to get into the character of Spirit from Soul Eater?
Did I have to do anything to get into the character of Spirit from Soul Eater? Yes, I had to get dumped on by 100 girls. That's it. Then you feel like Spirit. You know, when Soul Eater came out, Soul Eater is another perfect example of getting a great role that you like getting a smaller role that's really a great role. This seems to happen to me all the time, and it goes way, way back, like all the way back to Full Metal Panic, which is a long time ago. I wanted to play Sosuke Sagura. He was the main character, right? And every actor always wants to play the main character, right? So I auditioned for Sosuke, and I didn't get him. And I got this other guy named Kurt Weber. And I was like, Kurt, I'm stupid, not the main character. And it was just kind of this ego thing, like I wanted to be the main character, and I didn't get it. Well, then I found out when we started recording, Kurtz was awesome. Kurtz, in my opinion, was a more colorful, interesting character than Sosuke was. So I lucked out. And the same thing happened with Soul Eater. I auditioned for Death the Kid, I auditioned for Soul, I auditioned for, these other male characters that were more lead characters, and I didn't get any of those, and I was like, darn, And then he's like, yeah, I want you to play this guy, Deathside. I'm like, okay. But then I got in there, I'm like, this guy is awesome, he's fun. So, the best characters, and this is a little rule of thumb for you, if you get into theater, if you audition for stuff, the best characters are not always the lead characters. And you can even, if you're a good actor, you can even take a lesser important character and make him the star of the show. I mean, I'll bet some of you have probably even seen movies or stage plays where there was one guy who was playing this incidental character, and every time he came on stage, he just took over. He was so funny, or he was so engaging, or he played the character so well that you looked forward to him coming on every time. He wasn't even the main guy, but he stole the show. I'll give you, you know what comes to mind off the top of my head? Finding Nemo? What's her name? Ellen DeGeneres character.
Dory.
Dory, right? Exactly. Dory was awesome. And you know what? And I don't want to get anything thrown at me here, because everybody was amazing in Frozen. But Olaf? Oh my gosh. That kid, I don't even know his name, but he's playing this little snowman character, and he knocked it out of the park. Everything he said was just adorable. And you know what I mean? So you guys, if you're interested in getting into theater, if you're interested in acting, remember that. You're not always going to get the lead role. In fact, you probably most often won't get the lead role. I don't. But if you really take whatever role you get seriously and really pour your heart and soul into it, you can make it you can make it a great character. You can make it a great role. And Spirit was like that for me. Yes, sweetie? Who was the favorite character that I ever played as? You know what? For a long time, I always was afraid to answer that question. Like, if Rachel was sitting here dressed as Yuki from Vampire Night, and she says, "What's your favorite character?" In my mind, I'm thinking, she wants me to say Zero, right? What if Zero's not my favorite character, right? What if somebody's dressed as, like here, "What's your favorite character?" I'm thinking, she wants me to say Tamaki, right? But my point is, I think maybe you do. And so I've always, for the longest time, was afraid to say a character, because I don't want to disappoint somebody that asks me a question. And so I would always give this very diplomatic answer. "Well, I love all my characters equally. They're like my children. I could never pick a favorite." Well, then something happened that was extremely impactful, and that was the last episode of Brotherhood. When I recorded that last episode, and I was doing the last line that I might ever do as Ed, I thought, I can no longer say that I don't have a favorite. I mean, you can't play a character like Ed for 6 or 7 years and not be totally in love with him. So Ed's my favorite role. However, Tamaki is a very close second place. I mean, Ed could probably feel Tamaki biting his butt, because Tamaki is right behind him. I love Tamaki so much. Yes?
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh!
I've been all three. This is the first time. Okay.
Oh good, I'm glad then.
I understand that you've had quite a long career in acting, but what are some other jobs that you've worked in your lifetime, and which one was the most interesting?
I've had a lot of jobs, you guys. Okay. I'll tell you the things that I can remember doing. How about that? When I was, of course I was a paper boy. How many guys were paper boys when you were younger? They don't even have, oh my gosh! I just aged myself, didn't I? Everyone's like, paper? What's a paper? Newspaper.